Yeah, yeah. We just chillin' and vibing. Good conversations with good people. Oh, good conversations with good people. Yeah,
Welcome to another episode of Chilling and Vibing Podcast. Today's guest, he's not just a writer, he's a movie producer, y'all. Yeah, he got that vision. Y'all welcome the one and only Lex. What's going on, Lex?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, Larry? It's great to be here on the Chilling and Vibing podcast. I appreciate your time. Thank you, thank you. This means a lot, to be here. So I appreciate you.
Hey man, I appreciate you for coming to Chill and Vibe, man. So Lex, man, where you originally from, man?
Yeah, man, that's a it's an interesting question because it's kind of a long answer, but technically I was actually born in the Southwest, so I was actually born in Tucson, Arizona. But I was in Phoenix the first 2 years of my life, but then me and my mother moved from Phoenix to Greensboro, North Carolina. I grew up in Greensboro, so I'm a North Carolinian. That's what I know. Is like I grew up in Greensboro, it was pretty much my first home. And yeah, and but like now, I'm kind of a little bit everywhere. I'm also based in LA. I've been in LA for the last 9 years, but I still have family here. So the last 2 years I've been going back and forth to North Carolina and to particularly Raleigh, North Carolina, and back and forth to LA for the last 2 years.
You mean Raleigh? I mean that was Ocho say. Ocho,
Yeah, right, right,
oh,
right. You're right. Either or, Raleigh or Raleigh, either or.
hey, I ain't gonna lie, I saw that clip, man. I was like, Ocho for real? He said
Right,
Raleigh?
right, right, right,
Hey, Shannon Sharp said, me out. He said, that'll work.
right,
He like,
right,
hey, I ain't even gonna argue with you.
right. Exactly.
So Lex, man, at what age did you realize you had that passion, you know what I'm saying, to be a movie producer?
Yeah, no, thank you. That's a good question as well. It goes back to age four. Well, it's the start of it. That was before the passion. That was just the curiosity. When I, just around seeing animated shows on Saturday morning cartoons or whatever, running to my mother saying, "Hey, I want to have a cartoon one day." Like I could see myself having a cartoon, and she didn't say no. Like she was like, "Yeah, you can do that." And then fast forward 3 years later, seeing like TV movies or films like on the WB, whatever would be on TV, and catching those things and seeing a lot of live action films, and I realized it was like past cartoons. It was like, nah, that's what I want to do. I want to do the thing in this black box that makes my mother. Cause it would be me and my mother growing up, as a single parent, and it would be me seeing like the emotions that it would capture from her. That she would laugh, she would cry, and it's realizing this black box is doing that, and as I was growing into that passion and talking about wanting to do that a lot, it was my mother first saying that I can, and saying that she's had either dreams or visions that I could do it. Then it was my grandmother for sure who bought me my first camera, like a Christmas when I was 7 years old, and I was like really telling me that I actually can do it. So then I was running around making a whole bunch of stuff, making my mother acting a bunch of stuff, and my family members or friends or whatever do things, and then eventually, the rest is history from there. But eventually, my grandmother also bought me like my first professional camera by the time I was in high school, and then I went to film school, and I'll let you ask more questions from there. But yeah, that's kind of where it started, though. It's kind of where it started.
I don't know. What was your favorite cartoon?
Oh man, I had lots of them. That's a good question. I had lots of them. The favorite cartoons, I think, like it started from like what Kids WB, and then maybe from Cartoon Network, kind of seeing the Batman animated series, I think the Spider-Man animated series, uh, what else? Nickelodeon, Rocket Power, a whole bunch, just kind of soaking in a bunch of what was there and what I kind of resonated with, cartoon wise. I think yeah, I think like those were like the ones that at least first memory, like those are the ones that kind of come up.
What was the first project that made you feel like this is what I need to be doing? Like this is it.
Yeah, that I saw when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I was 7, and like, going back to like seeing live action films on TV, it was honestly it was John Singleton's Boys in the Hood. Seeing that and seeing like me and my mother sitting down to watch it, and I knew my mother seen it before. I think she said it multiple times before I watched it with her, but to see that like she was getting emotions from that, whether it was tears or laughter in certain parts, but realizing that the power of it. And I think that's when I knew not only that I wanted to be in this, that's when I knew I wanted to like write, because I knew it was like there's something being done here that's allowing someone to have an emotional experience from that. And then also too, just to know John Singleton was a black male, and young at the time too as well. I think that was like kind of my blueprint for me for a minute, just know that he was 23 when he made that film in 24, and he was nominated for best original screenplay and best director. So that was kind of like a compass for me. And that was the project that I was like passionate about for a long time. That was the film that was like Boys in the Hood. Even to this day, I still say Boys in the Hood made me a filmmaker, because it was like gave me that specific view of like what is it like to tell your own story, what it's like to impact your own community, to empower your own community, and then empower somebody like me, like a young brother from North Carolina, watching that and saying, hey, I could go and do the same thing that John is doing. In my 20s and 30s. So yeah, I'll say Boys in the Hood for sure. Was that first one?
What was the biggest struggle you faced early in your career?
That's a good question. You got some good questions. The biggest struggle I faced early in my career. That's a good one. I think it was really kind of navigating. I would say it's post LA, like moving to LA and navigating kind of just the ups and downs, from there. And like I guess like the journey of survival, and just figuring it out when you really don't really know, And so I think I would say this. I The struggle and challenge for me was like once I went to LA, and within my first 2 years, there's a lot of movement. There was a lot of like me doing a lot of stuff and even making films and renting grants to make films. But I think to realize that I can do all that. I can make films. I can get money to make films, but it doesn't mean that. I think especially when I was young, I moved out to LA when I was 24, and then I got a grant to make a film when I was 26. So I'm thinking, okay, the rest is history. And even my brothers who were there with me and my friends who were there with me, they're like, all that's going to change right after this, whatever. And then to realize, yes, there might be some change and maybe some impact, but it's not what we thought we were, or what it was. So I think for me, I think that was the most like eye-opening experience for me. It was like in the sense of jadedness, in a way of just like realizing what the industry really is, and it really means that I think it's probably my biggest, like you said, biggest struggle or challenge, but also lesson of like it's not just 1 plus 1 equals 2. It's not just you make a project and the rest is history and then everything is built for you. It's like you make something, you could even win something, you may even make a lot of contacts, but it doesn't mean that like that the rest is already built for you. You still got to keep going on in the journey. You still got to keep grinding like the way that you grind, even to get there. And I think that's where I learned. It's like also, like I said, it's also my biggest lesson, because it's like I'm still in that journey of I keep pushing forward and keep pushing forward from project to project to project to project, and not giving up. Where it's like there could be many people that if that nothing pans out in the way they wanted to, they're just gonna like, all right, I'm gonna quit this and start something new. I think it's like realizing that you got to keep going. If that makes sense. If that makes sense.
Hmm. Did you have any mentors or did you figure everything out on your own?
Definitely not. I would definitely not figure it out on my own. Definitely had mentors for sure, and I have mentors now. And I also would say, be even before getting mentors that may have been even older than me, or in deeper in their career than I am, even before then, it's getting people who were right there next to me to lean on. And so I was never alone. I think that the biggest part that I really like about filmmaking and about my career is to collaborate. Like collaboration is really key, and I cannot ever do it alone. So it's like leaning on my collaborators and getting inspiration from them, and what if I'm inspiring them and they're inspiring me? It's us doing this together. And I want to quote, Issa Rae with this too as well. She would encourage young filmmakers who want to break into the industry to look horizontal and not vertical. So it's like lean on the people who are right next to you to build. And so in some ways, before I even found mentors that were like deep in within the industry, which I do have now, I found mentorship within brothers and sisters who were working in the industry just like me in different departments in different fields, and kind of seeing what they're doing, and then using that as a way of like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, or I ask for advice in different places. And I still do that to this day. So definitely not alone. Definitely not alone. I wouldn't have been able to do it alone. So, that's another good question. So, yeah, thank you.
Oh, being a movie producer, you got that title, but what does a movie producer actually do?
Yeah, yeah, that's another good question. A lot goes into producing, and there's different tiers for it. Because even in producing, there's like you have executive producers, you have producer, you have an associate producer, you have a consulting producer. You have different like levels, to it. But I would say it's the best way to put it for people to understand it is producing is the business portion of filmmaking, whereas like directing and writing is more it's more creative. There's times where a director and a writer might have to put on a producer hat and they do both, but producing is really the logistics of filmmaking. It's hiring crew, it's finding locations, it's making sure people were fed, or at least hiring the people to make sure people were fed. It's all the like the grunt and busy work that goes around it. It's taxes, it's all the things that like that make a good business. It's doing that for a film production, and making sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and so as a producer for myself, it is interesting for me because I think as there's different types of producers. I would say for me, I'm more of a creative producer because I do have a background as a director. I am a director. I am a writer. And I think for me, what drives me into producing is believing in my fellow filmmakers. So I'll produce with people that I definitely believe in. And as a creative producer, it's more because I do have a background as a writer director myself. I'll guide like a first time filmmaker that may be working on their first film, or even if they're not, I'll just guide them through their process and try to fill any gaps that are not there that we may not have. And it may not always be straight creative. Like there's times I come with my own resources too as well to supply. I think for me the best my superpower when it comes to producing is figuring out what's not there and how can we fill the gap. So it's like a director may already come. All right, I got the story. I got this location. I got this actor. Okay, well, there's 5 other cast members we need to fill. Let me help you cast those. We need another location. Let's do that. We need to find some money or find some funding for this area of it. Let's do that. So producing is a lot. Is sometimes, yeah, sometimes it's fundraising, it's finding money, sometimes it's investing in itself. I've been a producer where I've invested my own money to a film, and that type of producer is an executive producer. Whereas like if I put, I have my company Trust Films, if that's tied into a film, it's like most likely, especially another director's film, most likely I've executive produced their film, and whether I'm leading it in as a creative producer or also maybe investing in some way. So
So what's harder, raising money or marketing the film afterward?
um I'll have to go. I have to say, raising money is probably the hardest because you just never know where you're going to get it from. Because marketing a film might be easy. I would say it's easier than raising money because at least the film is done, and then all you got to do is just kind of figure out how to get it to the people, and I think marketing can be fun, right? Because like watch, we're seeing what J. Cole's doing right now, where he's finding his own way of being J. Cole to market the fall off, right? And so I think marketing can you can find ways to make it really creative to and personal to the project. I think the funding part of it though, like finding the money to do so, is the hardest thing because if you don't have the money, you don't have it within your crew, you have to figure out how can I get someone invested enough to believe in this as much as I do, even if there's no return in investment. Because
Mm.
when it comes to independent filmmaking, there might not be. And and so when someone invests, they're investing because they believe in the project alone, not because they'll get a full return in it. Their return might be, oh, I invested into this young filmmaker, and then maybe 10, 15 years from now, I can see them maybe winning an Oscar or winning some type of big award. And I was one of the people that kind of helped get them there. But it's not always, especially if it's independent filmmaking or especially if it's a short film, most likely not going to get your money back. But uh so I would say when it comes to fundraising and finding money, that could be the hardest. But when you do it, it's great. And then you can get the film made. And then next thing you know, then I think the rest of it is it kind of serves itself because if the film is strong enough, I would say this: if the film's strong enough to get money, then you can market it. It will market itself because at least because the script was able to market it enough to get money for it. That once it's made and you have the belts and whistles and everything in it, and all you got to do is figure out what's the best platform for it. Like, hey, maybe I'll shop it to Larry and be like, hey, let's do some type of advertisement through chilling and vibing, for this, depending on what it is. So, I think marketing is it's pretty easy and it's fun. I think that's a fun thing. Funding, asking people for money, it's not fun, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So how do you decide which strip or story are worth producing?
Yeah, another good question. For me, I think each producer has their own compass and have their own way about it, their process. For me, at least so far, it's been meeting people. I haven't really produced a project without meeting someone. Like I'll meet a filmmaker first, know their energy, vibe with them, literally chill and vibe with them, you know, and connect with them on a certain level. Then they'll send me a script, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm already invested, right? I'm already invested in them as a person. They'll send me a script, and especially if the script is personal to them, I think for me that's what I look for. Is not just like, are you a good writer and is this entertaining or engaging? What is your voice and what is this film or the script saying about you as a person, especially if it ties to like something in their life. And I would say this, like, for my own, to make it more personal for me, in the year of 2023 I produced 3 films, and each 3 of those films, these are all shorts, but each 3 of them had something related. I don't know if I came in intentional looking for the relation in each of these films, but I realized that the through line in each of them, that they were family stories. They were somewhat about love in some type of way, but they were each about family, like complexes within families in some way. And they were very personal to the filmmakers. They were Each of these stories were like based or loosely based off of an experience that the filmmaker has had in their life. So it was personal. And so for
Hmm.
me, I'm invested in that because I'm like, one thing, that's the type of films that I make, or I want to continue to make or grow into making. And I look at it, if the filmmaker knows this experience and they're tied to it, that's just gonna really stop them from making it. They're passionate about making it. So for me, that's like my own compass of what's like worth producing. If it's something that is the filmmaker, I can tell the filmmaker's passionate about it. I can chill and vibe with this filmmaker, but
Hmm.
also it's a personal story to them. And personal stories kind of sell themselves because I know for me, even as a kid, when I was watching films, what I liked about Boys in the Hood was that finding out, oh, this was semi-autobiographical. John Singleton kind of lived this story. That
Mhm.
like finding out the story behind the film and how it connects to the filmmaker. That's my like that's I love that, you know, and so for me, if I can find filmmakers that have that with their scripts, they kind of have me because I can also easily trust the process because I can trust that you know what story you're telling because you live this story in some degree, you know.
Mhm. I don't want to get in your pockets, but can indie films really be profitable?
They can be over time. I think it's a journey. I think it's a journey in it. I would say yes. I mean, like for me, do I make money in independent filmmaking? In some way, yes. In some way, no. Some in some cases, because I'm also a commercial director, I'll make money directing commercials, and then maybe like I take a break and I'll produce a film that I know I'm not gonna make any money off of, but investing my own money into that film could lead to some form of accolades or some form of leveling up or an experience or opportunity I haven't had before. So, an example, I produced a film called My Brother and Me back in 2023, and it went to a handful of film festivals. I also invested in it too as well, and Trust Films was a part of it. And by the end of it's public now, but by the end of its like festival run, it was nominated for NAACP award for short films, and it was also um in the sky like airing on distributed on American Airlines, you know, where people can see it, and so people watch it, they'll see my logo on there, and so like for me, where if it wherever it's profitable, where I'm actually making money from it, not exactly, but in a sense of like over time, those type of things can get to bigger projects. But I think what is profitable for like most of us who are indie filmmakers have to do other things in the industry to make money. And so like for me, it's documentary filmmaking sometimes with branded companies, making documentaries for brands. I can make money off of that. I can make money in commercials. And then I can take breaks outside of that to invest into passion filmmaking and make the films that I want to make and get it to a point where I can make profit off of those types of films once we truly package them and make them into the what we want to. So once they become like these festival darlings and these these types of films that either where they go to Sundance or other types of film festivals, over time when audiences are watching a filmmaker grow, like a Ryan Coogler who did Fruitvale that was a small story at first, but then now he's doing Sinners and it's bigger. It's like that's where it profits is when you go from one thing and then you move up, so I think like the journey is profitable, but the indie filmmaking process of it may not always be. So I would say that it's a creative risk, but it's one of those questions you have to ask yourself: is the risk worth the reward? And I think for me the reward is the ultimate journey into how can we come from this and then get to this, if that makes sense.
You said your short film, My Brother and Me, it also made it to American Airlines. What was that feeling like when you saw, like, man, something I created is on this platform?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, first I have to shout out Ryan DeForest, who is the writer director of that film, who came to me to ask me to produce it, and yeah, I think that was something like for all of us, the central team or the full team on it behind that project, very just ecstatic, and it is rewarding to realize to find something out like that. Like it wasn't on my bingo card with producing the film. My main goal was to just help Ryan tell the best story possible for himself and support the process and the project as much as possible. um so by the time we get to the point where, like, you asked about marketing, you asked about like what happens, basically after the film is done and we get to the point where we're not shopping it, but we're submitting it to film festivals, going on the film festival run. For that film, the reason why it was on American Airlines was that it screened at ABFF, which is the American Black Film Festival in Miami. And when it screened there, it was part of a it was part of a screening block that ABFF, they were like, yeah, we're going to make sure all these films kind of get showcased through American Airlines, through a partnership that we have through American Airlines, and we're going to showcase these filmmakers in these films. And so to find that out when we discovered that, I mean, for me, I think that's like one of my it felt like an accomplishment for me. I think particularly just because Trust Films is a part of it too as well, and this was like a true family story. What I mean by that is not only was this story about a family and about a producer and his family, I mean a director and his family, but we all together kind of came close as a family to make that project. And I think just to kind of see it from the ground up to like scraping whatever we have together to make this film to now it being in the sky, I think it was just like it's even to this day, it's like something that I'm very proud of. I'm thankful for, and it wasn't something I expected. And so to be able to like, I had a few trips last year while I was traveling American, and to be able to watch that film while traveling American, it's surreal. It's such a surreal experience, man, and I'm very grateful for the journey in that process.
Is film festival exposure important today?
I think so. I think so. I mean, I think it definitely is a conversation and it's a question for sure. But it is, especially for the indie filmmaker, because there aren't a lot of like outside of trying to find out creative marketing ways or strategies through social media, which you can. I think that's the thing, that's the argument, right? It's like with the land of social media where you can just like plug something in on social media and just see it go straight to consumer and see um what the impact can be should you do a festival run where this film has to be exclusive to film festivals before you do that. But I think it's important because I think film festivals give you the opportunity to grow your audience. It gives you opportunity to like travel the film to different places in the US, potentially different places outside the US. You get a chance to have a certain experience if you travel with the film yourself physically. You get the chance to right there meet filmmakers. I think it's just like with me and you. Like we met. I'm here only here because we met at a Comic Con, right? A comic convention in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I think like that I was having that conversation a lot of just like nothing beats that. Nothing beats when you're actually able to meet someone. Like you bought a shirt because you met me, right? Like I don't know if the shirt was just there and you didn't meet the filmmaker behind the shirt, you probably wouldn't be compelled to buy the shirt. But it was like something about like we met each other, we were cool, and it was like, okay, boom, let's go from there. And so I think like nothing beats being at a film festival or a convention, meeting people, having a face to the name, having conversation around that, building your audience from that. Because I think that's like what happens at film festivals is that you get a chance, even not just for the film itself, but for the filmmaker, you get a chance to kind of grow your audience and kind of see like who vibes, with your work, and not just the audience watching the film, not just the consumers in the seats, but also the programmers, like the people who will work at these film festivals and they go and they select which films to go to their festivals. You're making good like relationships with them too as well. So I'm still like I don't want to necessarily graduate from film festivals. Like I think I still am like a big like supporter of them, and I think they are worth it, and I think it is worth the experience, but it is a journey because I think like it's a it's a slow burn that can pay off by the end, but I do think that it's something like the more and more you go to festivals, the more and more that you meet people, I think you make very pivotal and important connections with folks that go a long way. And yeah, I'll just wrap it up with that.
Yeah. So you got an award for best film, man, for your short film, The Middle. How did that make you feel? You know what I'm saying? Getting that award.
Yeah, it felt good. It felt good. I mean, yeah, the middle won quite a few awards during its festival run, and when we were nominated, or not nominated, but when we were in official selection at the Sundial Film Festival in Redding, California, um, yeah, that was towards like the end or at the end of our festival run. And that was something that I went myself personally to represent the film. Our great, director and writer, Sylvia Ray, who wasn't able to be there because she was obligated doing another filmmaking endeavor. She asked me to go, and I was able to go out there, represent the film, and I think that was another experience of just like kind of like similar to what I was telling you about American Airlines, that you just may not expect, and it could be like a surreal experience. Like, but for me being out there, yeah, I was just really there for the ride of just being there to support the film and promote the film while at the festival. And then to watch the film screen, see a good reception of the film screening, and then to also when I think we won best narrative film, but we also won best of festival. Yeah, I think it was a surreal experience. It was a surprise. It was, especially like I guess winning the best of fest. It was just like, oh wow, And I usually say this, and I said this in my interview there. Um, it's overwhelming, but in a good way, because it's like this
Hmm.
thing of like, oh, I'm just here to see my film screen. I think for filmmakers, I think honestly, we really just want to see our film screen. I know for me, I don't really always care about awards. Like I think it's good to get awards and stuff like that, but I try not to go places with expectation of winning anything. It's really about, hey, can I impact somebody through this film? Can I get this film screened? Can I share this film with an audience? Everything else is like icing on the cake. And so I think with that, when we won those awards, I was definitely over the moon, but it was like it was a bonus to the or what was already great about that experience is that this festival, which was also a great festival too as well, Sundial Film Festival, they care about filmmakers. This festival was, yeah, caring about us and was putting us up to like to be there and really wanted us there. And then so to get the awards, it was just a bonus, and it felt good, and it felt good to be there to accept it on behalf of our writer director and behalf of our team. So very grateful for that experience for sure.
So, what keep you motivated when times get tough, man?
Yeah, another good question. I think it's a reminder myself, and this is a conversation I have with like my core group of friends who are all artists, is if we weren't artists, what else would we do, right? And so like that's a conversation I have sometimes with my closest friends is that like, I think one of my friends maybe 7 years ago, something like that, was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna be an artist anymore. And I looked at them, I was like, well, what else are you really gonna do? So it's like, I think realizing that it's just like really about just really making this work. I think my purpose and the purpose of a lot of my colleagues is really to be artists and just find a way to make it work and make it happen. And so I think the motivating factor behind that is that, again, I think for me, I know I keep saying this, but it is really a journey,
Right.
and it's a long one. And I think like with that, there's no such thing as overnight success. I know that firsthand. Uh, and I think like when things get tough and you go through it, it's like, look, you're gonna see the light at the end of the tunnel. You gotta lean on the love of your collaborators and your family and people who are in your circle. Iron truly does sharpen iron. That's also a motivating factor too. And then it's the fact that you're gonna overcome the struggle and you're gonna be able to tell that story too. And because we're all storytellers and I'm a storyteller, I could there may be something about that process that I'm going through and that struggle that I'm going through that's going to inspire my next story or that's going to
Hmm.
inspire something. So it's like also realizing and reminding myself I am a storyteller, I am an artist, and I can turn this into art. So I think that is my motivating factor. And then there's also something that I say a lot is people often ask me about like a dream, like in the sense of the like concept of chasing a dream. And I don't really
Hmm.
believe in the concept of chasing dreams. I think we all are living our dreams. it's just not time to wake up yet. So I think like some of us might be 10%, 20%, 30% through our dream. We got to keep going. And once you, and because what happens once you get the thing that you want? Do you just stop? Or are you going to keep going past and keep doing more? And so I know for me, I'm going to keep doing more. So it's not about chasing something because it's not done once you get it. It's about continuing on in the journey and seeing what else you can do more and more and more. So for me, I don't know where I'm at in my percentage in my dream journey. Maybe I'm 30% through, but I just know it's definitely not nowhere near time to wake up from it. I'm definitely dreaming. I'm enjoying the dream. I'm enjoying the journey. And yeah, I'm not waking up anytime soon, if that makes sense.
What's your ultimate goal in the film industry?
Yeah, I think for me, man, the ultimate thing for me is I want to make whatever I want to make at any given time. If I can get to that point, because I can't say I'm fully there yet. I can try to make something that I want to make, but I might have to do other things that prioritize the projects that pay and all those things, right? So I can't necessarily do anything I want to do at any given time, but I want to get to the full extent of like getting to a point where if I want to make a short film, I can make a short film. I'm probably always gonna make short films, but I'm gonna make features too, and I'm gonna make commercials. Like I'm not gonna stop making commercials. I'm not gonna stop making shorts. I'm not gonna stop making docs. I'm not gonna stop making probably music videos or anything that I want to make. I want to be able to make at any given time, and I don't want to have the restrictions of like, well, I can't make this because there's no money in it and things like that. I want to be able to have the luxury to do so. I think within that, I think it is continuing to grow my business. It's continuing to grow Trust Films. It's continuing to support other filmmakers. It's to continuing to grow as a individual, but also as an artist and as a entrepreneur, within the film industry and in other industries too as well. So I can get to that point where I'm investing into businesses and to productions that I'm making money without having to work sometimes. Like my grandmother used to tell me this thing about the concept of a lemon tree. You need a lemon tree in your life so it can make lemons. That's that passive income that you don't have to go and buy your own lemons. It's making your lemons for you. And getting to a point where it's like I have things like that are supplying needs. That it's like I get to a point where I don't my filmmaking isn't relied on me living or surviving. It's really rooted into my passion. And so it's like if I make commercials because I really want to make that. If I want to make a Nike commercial, I really want to make that Nike commercial. It's not like, oh, I gotta do this to get the money, or I want to do this, but also it's the money. Yeah, I'm going to take the money too, and that's good too as well. But then that's going into the savings without it being this thing that I need this to live. It's like no, I'm choosing this. I want to be able to choose my projects, and I'm choosing this because I really want to, and it's rooted into that true want. And so, I think for me, that's the it's a career of peace. Whereas, like I can just flow and choose to do whatever I want to do as a filmmaker. Produce this project because I want to produce it. Film direct this project because I want to direct it. And all of the above. And write and take however long I need to write something for it to be made. And so yeah, I that's the ultimate goal is to have a career at peace and to not be in a race of like making something for survival, but it's just like to be able to have more than enough and to just flow with my art.
What advice would you give a younger version of yourself before producing your first film?
Have fun. Don't take it too seriously because you're gonna be able to make more films. Just have fun with it. Have fun with it. Don't feel like you have to make a masterpiece with it. Learn from the experience. I think I spent a lot of time as a young filmmaker trying to make the best project possible. Um, where that got in the way of me actually really enjoying the experience. So I would encourage my younger self to enjoy the experience because it's more past that film. And what if I fail making that film or I succeed making it, I'm gonna be able to make another film and use like if I do fail, use the failing as a learning lesson to be able just to learn from it and make another one, you know. So that's what I would tell my younger self. And then just take it easy. Don't be too serious. Just have fun. Have fun, be
Mm-hmm.
young. And because you're gonna have I think I was trying to be so much older at a younger age, and I think you're gonna have much more time to deal with that older stuff. Be young, have fun making films, live your life, and that's gonna give you the to the point where you're gonna continue to do this if you don't take it too seriously.
If somebody wanted to purchase your merch or follow you and watch your movies, how could they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, you can follow me on I'm accessible on Instagram. Trust Lex, my last name, first name, so at TRUSSLEXX. I have my website, trustlex.com. My films are on there. As far as merch, I am working towards getting like direct consumer merch on my website. But in the meantime, if you're interested, just DM me and we'll find a way to get it to you. Wherever if I'm passing through where you are, and we will do it directly in person, or I'll find a way to kind of ship it to you. But anyone that's interested in my merch, it's I am posting it now on my Instagram, so you can kind of see the selection of hats that I have. I'm about to do a post soon that gonna have like the hoodies and the shirt that you have and things like that too as well. And I think right now I'm kind of like doing the J. Cole thing where I just have this stuff, and if someone wants it, I'm gonna sell it directly to them. But eventually it's gonna be on my website. So just keep following me and stay tuned to updates. But yeah, Trust Lex at Trust Lex on Instagram and trustlex.com to watch my films and stay updated for new films that's going to be on there. I have a page for all my other work, my producing and writing endeavors under other work, and my directing endeavors on the directing page. So
Yeah, man. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you for coming to Chill and Vibe. But before we go, let everybody know what we doing, man.
we're chilling and vibing with Larry, Larry Mackins.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. Thank you. Much love.